and welcome to Noble Character Crafts. My name is Amy and I'm coming to you from eastern Nebraska, where I live with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Thursday, February 29th, 2024. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoy this episode. This is a channel all about my crafty life, and today I have knitting and crocheting to share with you. I will have links to the places that you can find me in the description box below, as well as the show notes for this episode. It is super windy here today. I just want to start that off because I'm sure you'll be able to hear the wind gusting outside. So I just wanted to explain that in case you're curious about what the background whooshing noise is, because it's so windy here today. I have a few finished objects to share with you today, but first I wanted to share what I'm wearing. I am wearing my Venation shawl, which is a pattern by Ambah O'Brien. And I knit this last year out of some yarn that my cousin Allie dyed and sent to me. And I just love the colors in it so much. I think it's so beautiful. So I love wearing this. Okay, a few finished objects I have made are some hats. I showed this hat off in my last episode as a work in progress, and this I basically followed the Musselburgh pattern by Ysolda Teague, but I modified it by, instead of knitting a double long hat, so the Musselburgh hat you're probably aware of, I've knit it lots of times before. You start at one crown, you increase your stitches, you knit a super long tube and then decrease at the other end, and then you fold the hat into itself to make a double thick hat. Well, I am using up some worsted weight scraps that I've had in my stash, and I wanted to try doing it just with a single layer instead of a double layer. So I used the same numbers from the Musselburgh hat, but just started at the brim. So I cast on the number of stitches that I get to in the pattern at the, the biggest number, so, for the brim, and then I just knit until it was ready to decrease and followed the decrease instructions for the Musselburgh hat. So just made like a half of a Musselburgh hat basically. So I did 2x2 ribbing for 4 inches on this one. And so the Musselburgh hat comes with instructions for using fingering to DK weight yarn, and I actually have, like I said, used worsted weight yarn, but I have done that before using the Musselburgh hat, and I'm able to get the loosest gauge that Ysolda provides in her pattern using US 6 4mm needles. So I get a gauge of 5 stitches to 1 inch, which is the loosest gauge that she provides. Even though I'm using worsted weight yarn, I'm still able to meet that gauge, if that makes sense. So anyway, I, like I said, did 2x2 ribbing, so knit 2, purl 2 for 4 inches, and then just went into plain stockinette, and I'm using up scraps. So this one is the Big Twist brand from Joanne, and it was sent to me by a viewer of this channel, and I just used all of that up. As I was getting near the end, I started using helical knitting to stripe in this next color, which is a Karen Simply Soft Paints in Oceana, which was another skein of yarn that was gifted to me by a viewer of this channel. And I love how this one turned out with the helical knitting there, striping those 2 colors together, and then the crown just in the pretty Oceana colorway. And like I said, I used US 6 4mm needles, and this hat turned out pretty big. So I think usually using this stitch count in the Musselburgh hat, it would fit my head nicely, but I think since it's not double layer, it turned out bigger than normal because it doesn't have that double layer making it tighter, if that makes sense. So this one's a little bit too big on my head. I have a small to average size head circumference, so I'm glad that I'm making these just to give as donations. And so I'm glad this one turned out a little bit bigger because a lot of people have larger head circumferences than I do. And so, yeah, I think this one will be great for lots of people. And it's turned out super beautiful, I think. So I have made some more. The next one I made is this one, which turned out a little bit too small for my head. It will fit a very small adult or child size. So this one I cast on, I'm sorry, I didn't mention this. For this one, I used the stitch count for the adult medium. And for this one, I used the stitch count for the adult small. I again did 2x2 ribbing for 4 inches again, and then went into plain stockinette. I had said on my last, I think it's okay to tell the inches. I don't think that's a big deal. I said on my last episode that I thought I was going to knit this one to be 12 inches long before I started doing the decreases, but it ended up, I could tell it was already going to turn out way too big or too long. So I only knit to a total of 11 inches before I did the decreases. On this one, I knit until the length was at 9 inches before doing the decreases. But this one, like I said, turned out a little bit too small. Again, I just used up scraps. I have no idea what either of these 2 scraps are, but again, I have the Karen's Simply Soft Paints in Oceana for the crown again. I think this one's super cute, and it will work great for a child. Then I made this one, and this one fits my head really nicely. So this one I again cast on the adult small size for the stitch count. I did the 2x2 ribbing for a total of 4 inches again, and then knit to a total length of 10 inches before starting the decreases. And that fits my head really nicely. And I just love how they have this, still have a really nice thick brim that can be folded up. And again, okay, so for this one, I started off with Knit Picks Brava in the mulberry colorway. So I do know that one. It is, all of these are 100% acrylic yarn. And then again, use the Oceana colorway at the top using helical knitting. And I even did the helical knitting throughout the crown, which I probably won't do that again. I love the effect of it. How it looks is really cool, but it was kind of a pain to deal with helical knitting and decreasing stitches at the same time. So I like how it turned out, but I probably won't do that again because it was kind of a pain to try to figure that out. But I love how this one turned out too. I think it's so pretty. And then the last one I have is here. And I love how this one turned out too. I again went up to the adult medium stitch count for this one. And the yarn for this, I can't quite remember what this navy blue one is, but it was also sent to me by a viewer, and so was the red. The red is Karen Simply Soft in the Autumn Red colorway. So I did the ribbing for 4.5 inches this time. I just did it a little bit longer, the ribbing, and I knit to a total length of 10 inches again until I started doing the decreases. And again, I striped in the red using helical knitting. So I just love the look of that. So yeah, I have 4 hats done, and I'm just happy to be working through some of my worsted weight scraps. There aren't quite enough to make a bigger project with, and I think this is a great use of them, and I'll be happy to be able to donate these. I have another one in the works right now, so I will show that off in my works in progress. I think that is all I have to say for those, so I will go on to my works in progress. My first work in progress has gotten probably the majority of my attention since I recorded last, and that is my Ariana cardigan, and I'm so excited to share with you the progress that I have made on it. So this is a free pattern by Amy Christoffers, and it is one of the projects that I have on my Make 9 list for the Make 9 2024 MAL that I am hosting, and I will have details about that make along in the description box below if you're not familiar with it. But anyway, I have finished all of the full squares. Here is my big pile. I have a few more that I've already started joining over here that I'll show you in a second, but here are the rest of the squares that I have not yet joined in. And I'm so excited that I finished all of the squares. I think in the past I had mentioned that I needed to make 48 full squares for this pattern, but I only needed to make 46. But I've gotten all 46 completed. So I'm excited about that. I had kept the new ones aside to show them to you all, but I think I've made like almost like 18, I think I made since last time, and I decided I'm not going to go over and show you 18 different squares because you'll just get the idea that they're all different. I did want to go over the yarn that I'm using for this project because I might have gone over all the yarn when I first started this project, but I can't. I'm looking for one ball. Oh, it's right here. I can't remember if I went over all the colorways that I'm using for this project or not, but I wanted to go over them now since it's been a while. I know. I started this project back in November of 2023, and I am modifying the pattern quite a bit. The original pattern calls for worsted weight yarn. I'm using fingering weight yarn, and I am just doing more rounds on my squares so that they measure the same size as what the pattern calls for. I'm using a 2.75 millimeter hook, and I do 8 rounds instead of only 5 rounds, which the original pattern calls for. All of the yarn that I'm using is Knit Picks palette, except for 2. Knit Picks palette is a fingering weight yarn, 100% Peruvian Highland wool, and then actually the 2 border colors, the black and the camel color on this square, are the other yarns that I have. So all of these are Knit Picks palette except for these 2. These 2 are yarns Brunswick, which is 100% pure virgin wool in black and camel. And then the other colors that I have are Wheat Heather. Again, this is the Knit Picks palette. Brass Heather. Rooibos Heather. Oh, that's the Yarns Brunswick one. Here we have Hollyberry. Ice Lily. Asphalt Heather. Garnet Heather. Calypso Heather. Aurora Heather. Merlot Heather, and the last one is Cream. And I have more of this one. This one's almost ready to run out, but I have more of it in my stash. So those are all of the colors I'm using. I am making every square, no 2 squares are matching. I'm just changing up all the colors and distributing them as evenly as I can throughout as I make all these squares. And I'm enjoying that process so much. And like I said, oh, and then the border color. I didn't tell you that one. I grabbed it. Where did I put it? I must have thrown it back in this bag. The border color is called I've just lost it. Oregon Coast Heather. I'll show you in this piece that I've already started joining. So as I'm joining these squares together, I am actually doing 2 rounds, again, to kind of make up the difference for me using fingering weight yarn instead of worsted weight. I decided that it would match the original pattern best if I did 2 rounds in the border color. So here is my progress so far. I am not following the pattern in the way that I'm joining the squares either, but I think there's a note in there that says you can really join them however you want, in whatever order you want. I actually didn't even look at the instructions that she called for as to how to join the squares. I'm just joining the squares using a slip stitch like I always do when I join granny squares. So that's what I'm doing as I'm joining my squares. I just use a slip stitch. So I do a cluster and then I do a slip stitch across into the space that is across from the one I'm joining, if that makes sense. So in between each cluster, I do a slip stitch to join to the next one. I hope that makes sense. So this, I have done 1/2 square here, and that goes at the base of the neck. So the way this is going to fit is like this, and this kind of will lay over the shoulder here. So I'm super excited of how this is coming along. I think it's going to look really great. I'm so happy to be joining these together now, and I'm super motivated to continue working on this and trying to get this, you know, I want to see it come together as quickly as possible now. I'm just so excited to see it come together now. So it's kind of in an awkward stage right now to tell you, you know, to get an idea of what it will look like, but I'm excited to, I was really excited to get that joining color put in and see how the squares look bordered with that color, and I'm very, very happy with how it's turning out. I still have a lot of these half triangles or half squares to make. I think I need a total of 14 and I've only made this one, but I wanted to hold off on making those triangles, and I have to make 2 half triangles, so just like quarter pieces. I wanted to hold off on putting those in so that I can be really careful about what colors I put into them so that I can evenly distribute the colors throughout the cardigan as I'm piecing it together. So I'm super excited about that project. Okay, my next work in progress, also another project from my Make 9 board, is being held in this project bag that I made. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the yarns for that one are being held in this bag from Longview Creations. Okay, this project is the Garter Triangle Wrap, which is a free pattern by, Triangle Garter Wrap, free pattern by Purl, Soho. I'm again modifying this one quite a bit. I have a pattern of doing that. And for this one, the original pattern calls for fingering weight yarn, and I am using lace weight yarn. So for this one, I am using a combination of, most of it is Knit Picks Aloft lace weight, which is 72% Super Kid mohair and 28% silk. I'm using 4 different colorways. The first one, I've already finished the first color. So since I recorded last, I was able to finish off this white color. So this was 125-gram ball of the Knit Picks Aloft in the white colorway that made the first white section here. And hopefully you can see, it's kind of hard actually to see the transition, but now I've started working into this gray color, which is called Plover. And I have 2 25-gram balls of this gray color, so I'll use both of those, and that will get me to the largest width of this shawl. The original pattern calls for you to only make a triangle, but I'm planning on making a square, so I'm going to get to the widest point when I finish the 2 balls of this gray color, and then I'm going to start decreasing my stitches and complete the, you know, finish off the other side with another, well, I'm just going to make it into a square, like a simple square similar to what you would see making a dishcloth. It's kind of the same idea, but I'm using the pattern from Purl Soho for some of their instructions on how to do the stitches. Like, you start off each row with a slip stitch, and anyway, it's a very simple pattern. I am using 5 3.75 millimeter needles, and I've made a little over 3 inches of progress since I showed this off last. So I started this project on December 23rd of 2023, and I finished this white ball on February 25th. Yes. So it took me 2 months to knit through that 125-gram ball. So if I continue at that pace, it's going to take me all year to finish this if I do as I'm planning to knit through all of the skeins that I have. So anyway, it's a long-term project, but I'm just loving how it's looking. I think it's so, I just love it. I just love how light and airy it is, and I just think it's going to be really cool when it's all done. So I'm excited about it, even though it's a slow growing project. My last project from my Make 9 board that I have made some progress on is my Granny's Daughter Afghan that comes from this Scrap Yarn Afghans Book 2 by Leisure Arts, and this is a pattern by Nancy Fuller. And I have added, I think 4, yes, I've added 4 strips to this blanket, and they will be on the top. The 4 strips on the top are what I've added since last time. And I suppose as I'm adding these strips, they're all kind of looking the same because, you know, although Actually, none of them are the same, but you know what I mean. It's just continuing to grow, and it's kind of hard to tell one strip from another. But anyway, it is coming along. So let's see, I think I have a total of 16. Now I need to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I have 17 strips right now. I need a total of 25. So I need to add in 8 more. I've decided to add in 3 more strips from the original pattern. She only calls for you to have 22 strips total, but I'm going to be adding in 3 more strips to make it just a little bit wider. So this is made using all worsted weight acrylic yarn, tiny little scraps. I made a total of 951 round granny squares, and now I'm joining them. The border color that I'm using is Knit Picks Brava in the Almond colorway. I am using a G 4mm hook for this project. And yeah, I love it when I get near the finish line of a project. Only 8 more strips. That's not a lot, and then the border. So maybe I will be able to finish this one up pretty soon. I just love how this is looking though. I think it's so much fun. It brings me so much joy to use up all these scraps. And it's really, I've used it to cover up myself on cool mornings when I first get up, and it just works. It's such a beautiful blanket. It is so warming, and I just love it. A lot of times with granny squares, there's a lot of openings, but this one's pretty closed. Oh, I forgot to mention that I am making modifications to the way that I'm joining the strips together as well. I'm pretty sure that in the original instructions, it calls for you to do 2 rounds as you're joining these strips, but I'm only doing 1 round, and then I'm doing a slip stitch to join the strips together. Again, kind of as I did on my Ariana cardigan. I started this one quite a while ago. I started making these little squares in July of 2022. So it'll be exciting to get this one finished up. Hopefully soon. I have more works in progress to share with you that are not on my Make Mine board. So last time I shared with you that I had started 3 new pairs of socks, and I'm still working on all 3 of those pairs of socks. The first pair has made the most progress. It's being held in this beautiful bag by Tanny Casey. And I am using Knit Picks Felici worsted weight yarn for these socks in the Chelsea colorway. So this is 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon, worsted weight. And I cast on 44 stitches using, I don't remember what needles, pretty small ones, I think, 2.5. I can't read that. My eyes are getting bad. I need to look at my notes where I've written it out bigger. I'm using 2.5 3mm needles. So I cast on 44 stitches, did 1 by 1 ribbing for 16 rounds. And then I decreased my stitch count to 40 stitches and have just done plain stockinette for the leg. I did a slip stitch heel flap using the just a bare Knit Picks Felici bare yarn, and have done the gusset decreases already, and I'm just knitting through the foot right now. So these are coming along nicely. Last time I recorded, I was just finishing up the ribbing. This little progress keeper is also from my cousin Allie. She made this cute little star progress keeper. So sweet. And yeah, those are a nice and easy project to work on. I have a lot of those right now in all of the projects I'm going to share with you at the end here. They're all nice and easy projects. The next pair of socks is being held in this cute bag that was gifted to me by a viewer of this channel, and it was made by Stitchin' You Bags. And the socks in here, the next 2 pairs of socks haven't made nearly as much progress, but the yarn that I'm using is by Dandelion and Dogwood. And it is Candy Cane Peppermint Bark colorway on the Fairy sock base, which is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% Stitolina. And I cast on 60 stitches using US 0.2mm needles for these. Last time I shared these, I had also just finished up the ribbing. And I'm again just doing plain stockinette for these. I made this Progress Keeper myself, and it just, the little beads on there matched the colors in the yarn so perfectly, so that's why I picked that one. Anyway, I love how these are micro striping. I think they're really fun. So those I haven't made a ton of progress on, but a little bit. But I'm just going to do plain stockinette for those as well. And my last pair of socks I've made even less progress on these, but they're being held in this adorable bag by Joy in the Stitches. And these I am making, I have hair in my mouth. These I am making using some crazy yarn that comes in these knitted strips that you unravel and then knit from that. So kind of like a sock blank, but in this form. This is, I believe, a discontinued yarn from Lion brand. It's in their Penelope line, which is 75% wool, 25% polyamide, and this colorway is called Siren. And I again cast on 60 stitches using US 0.2mm needles. Last time I recorded, I was still working on the ribbing, so I finished the ribbing and I've just started doing stockinette on these as well. I think that this Progress Keeper was gifted to me by a viewer of this channel as well. I don't think I mentioned on the last pair of socks, the Dandelion Dogwood ones, but I did 20 rounds for the cuffs on those and these as well. 2x1 ribbing for these for 20 rounds. And again, I'm just doing plain stockinette for these as well. So I have a lot of easy plain stockinette projects on the go right now, which is really nice to have, but I should probably just focus on one pair of socks at a time so that I can actually get a pair done. But I don't know, I just have a few varieties of socks to work on right now. My last work in progress is being held in this project bag that I made. It was maybe the first, if not definitely one of the first project bags I ever made, and I am just working on another hat. So I used the numbers for the Musselburgh hat, but it's still modified, of course. So Musselburgh by Ysolda Teague, and I am knitting the adult medium stitch count again for this and doing 2x2 ribbing. So knit 2, purl 2, and I will do that for 4.5 inches again. And I'm using US 6 4mm needles, doing them on a 16-inch circular so that I can just go around and around. And again, this is the Caron Simply Soft yarn in the Autumn Heather colorway. I still have a little bit of the navy color left from this hat. So I will eventually stripe in the little ball of navy that I have left using helical knitting again. That's my plan right now anyway. I'll stripe this little ball in after I get past the ribbing. So another nice and easy project to have on the go with this one. So I think that's all of my works in progress I have to share with you. If you have watched for the last few weeks, you may notice that there's a pattern going on of me being blessed with tons of yarn lately that I am so incredibly thankful for. And today I have not one, but 2 different donations to share with you all. So my cousin Allie, who I've mentioned a few times on this episode, sent me 3 boxes of yarn that I'm going to share with you. And then just today I got another box from a viewer of this channel named Haley, and she sent some incredible yarn as well. So I just cannot express enough how incredibly grateful I am for all of these wonderful yarns and other goodies that people have sent my way. And again, I will be using them to gift to those of you that are participating in the Make 9 2024 MAL as I go throughout the year. I try to pretty regularly gift prizes for that make along. Typically about every other episode that I put out, I try to give away some prizes for that make along. So you will see many of these prizes going out to those of you who are participating in the Make 9 2024 MAU. And I just want to share with you all of the goodies that these ladies sent my way. So the first yarn I'll share with you is from my cousin Allie. And I will just go over everything. Here is a gorgeous skein of yarn from Knit Picks. It's the Precocia Tonal Maritime colorway, and it's worsted weight, 100% merino wool. And this color is just outstanding. I love it so much. And then she sent one skein of Cotton, Knit Picks Cotton in the Hydrangea colorway. This is a DK weight, 70% Tangus cotton, 30% linen in the Hydrangea colorway. I already said that. One skein or cake of Knit Picks Galileo in the Comfrey colorway. This is sport weight, 50% merino wool, 50% viscose from bamboo. Love that color, it's so pretty. Two skeins of Knit Picks Dishy, which is 100% cotton, worsted weight in the Kanai colorway, I think. Yes, and blue. And then I have this whole kit of Knit Picks Brava sport weight, and I am going to keep it and make a blanket out of it. It is so, I just love the colors in this kit of yarn so much. So I'll go over them. So this is, again, sport weight, 100% premium acrylic. I have one skein of Lady Slipper, one skein of white, probably, yes. And then I have two of most of them. So I have two skeins of Sky, Cornflower, Tranquil, Alfalfa, Custard, Cream. It's hard to see. That's better, I guess. Seashell, another very bright one. So pretty. It's not showing right, but it's too bright. It's blowing out with the sunshine too much. Cotton Candy. And then there are 4 skeins of Dove Heather. So I don't know what I'm going to make with these, what pattern I'm going to make with these, but I'm definitely going to make a blanket out of these, and I think it's going to be so gorgeous. Seeing all of these colors together is just so inspiring. I just love them so much. It's so pretty. Okay, that's the first box. I've still got 2 more to go just from Allie alone. Okay, on to the second box. She sent me 5 skeins of Coffee Beans by Plymouth Yarn Company. It is 75% acrylic, 25% wool. The color is just a number, I think, 9389. It is 100 grams for 214 yards, so that'd be worsted weight, I believe. Such a pretty color. I love it. And she actually knit up a little swatch, which is so beautiful as well. So pretty. I have all of this yarn. It's all the same brand, which is Barocco Millefiori. I have 2 full skeins in the color 7859. That's this one. 2 in color 7887. That's gorgeous. These colors are so jewel toned. I just love them. And then one partial skein, color 7885. And this yarn is 100 grams for 186 yards. It's listed as a worsted weight as well. And it's 50% wool, 50% acrylic. So super pretty. I have 4 skeins of Rowan Summer Light 4-ply Egyptian cotton. And I won't take them out of this bag, but we've got 2 shades of blue, one light, one dark, a cream color, and then this green. Four cakes of the Sassy Skein Key West Caribbean Cotton Collection, 100% mercerized cotton, 107 yards to I don't see grams on here. I would guess it's 50 grams, but I'm not sure. This one is Marina Blue, Blue Lagoon, Peacock, and Beach Glass. So those are beautiful together. One cake of Gypsy Girl Creations in the Mountain Home colorway. Isn't that gorgeous? This is color number 2018, it says. I think Mountain Home is the colorway though. It's fingering weight 100% merino wool. So beautiful. Here is a sweet little, this is so clever. It's by, let's see, Delicious Yarns. It is called a Gourmet Cowl Kit. And it comes with these 2 cakes of yarn. Let's see. It has mini skein and Sequel blend and a mini skein and a mohair blend. On the back it has like a nutrition label for the yarn. So it's super cute. I am assuming it comes with this pattern too. I haven't opened up this box, but I'm assuming it comes with a pattern to make this cowl as well. Or maybe a code or something to get it. Super cute. And let's see, I've got 1 skein of Cascade Yarns Avalon Multis. This is 50% cotton, 50% acrylic. And it's 175 yards to 100 grams. Color number 302. And then I have several skeins, or hanks, I should say, of Plymouth Yarn Fantasy Naturelle 100% cotton mercerized yarn, and there are 140 yards to 100 grams. So I have one of this blue color 9003, 4 of color 7382, 2 of color 7650, 2 of 8176, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hanks of color 1404, 1 of color 9601, 3 in color 8020, and 5 in color, I'm not sure, maybe 9510. I'm not exactly sure. The label is covering up the color name, but it says 9510 on each of these, so maybe that's the colorway. That's the second box. Okay, and on to the third box from my cousin Allie. She sent me 2 cakes of yarn that she dyed, and they are so gorgeous. This, she said, is on a Cascade Heritage sock base, which is Cascade Heritage sock silk base, 85% merino, 15% silk. So can you use these to make socks then if it doesn't have any nylon in it but has silk instead? Does that hold up as well, I wonder? But since I have 2 skeins, I might want to use them for a bigger project anyway. They're so beautiful. I love them so much. Beautiful. And then she sent me a whole baggie full of these minis that came from Knit Crate, and she believes that they are a merino wool base. There's tons of these little 10-gram minis, I think. And lastly, she sent this beautiful loom and kit from Farmer's Daughter, the Farmer's Daughter Fibers. So you get this little loom and this kit or box of yarn. I don't know what this yarn is. There's not a label on it about what it includes exactly, like the makeup of this yarn. But this one is kind of like a straw or raffia, and then the other ones are probably a merino wool maybe on these two, I would guess. I'm not exactly sure, but this one's more thick. So super beautiful colors in that. So that's all of the goodies from my cousin. And then I'll go on to the box that I just received from Haley. So she sent a big box packed full of wonderful yarn as well. The first is several skeins of Yarn Bee Color Idol. She sent me 3 skeins of the Frosty Mint colorway. I have worked with this yarn before. It is fingering weight, 50% merino wool, 30% nylon, and 20% acrylic. I have used this yarn in socks before, but it, I don't believe, is a superwash wool, and so it seems to felt when I have washed it in the machine, but they could be made into socks that are only hand washed as well. But I've got 3 skeins of that colorway, which is beautiful. And then, oh, this one doesn't have a label, but I have had this colorway before. I can't remember what it's called though. I don't remember. But this orangey color, I can tell it's the same Yarn Bee Color Idol yarn. And 3 in the L is for lemon colorway. And then 3 more in the magenta colorway. She sent me 1 skein of Highland wool from Hobby, 100% Peruvian wool, and it is a DK weight yarn. Very pretty color. The color is number 13. I just asked her what this was, and I looked at what she wrote me back, and now I forget what it was. She sent me just this 1 skein of, it's a fingering weight yarn that's discontinued from Hobby Lobby. I'll have to put it down below because I can't remember now what she said the name of this one was, but just this one, maybe partial skein. It looks like maybe it's been used a little bit. Okay, then she sent me this really fun DK mini skein set by Mace of Skeins. It's called a Poker Chips set, and this is in the Santa's Little Helpers colorway. These are DK weight, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Two skeins of yarn from Earth Yarns. It is the Unique Cotton DK. It is a mercerized cotton. I don't want to take it out of the bag, but it's kind of hard to see the color with the glare. There, that's a little better maybe. 3 cakes or skeins of yarn from Hobby. Again, this is the Zafria base, 55% cotton, 27% wool, 18% acrylic. And this is a worsted weight. And the color number probably is all they have on their tags, I believe. Color number 29. It's very pretty. And then she sent me this incredible, I just love the looks of this next yarn that I have. So I have, I think, 4 different colorways all in the same line. And several little cakes of each color. So there are 6. Look at that. As soon as I opened the box, this was the first yarn that I saw, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's so pretty. It's so luxurious looking, shiny and beautiful. This is again from Hobby in the Metallico base or line, 70% polyamide, 21% acrylic, 9% merino wool. This is color number 11. And this is also a worsted weight. So pretty. So 6 of that one. 4 of this one. So cool. This is color number 15. 1, 2, 6 of this color. Number 18. And 6 again of this one. This one is probably the coolest. It's so neato. It's like I got a golden center and then a fluffy blue outer part. Oh, it's so pretty. This is color 16. They're so neat. So that is everything from Haley. I, again, am just overwhelmed. I'm a broken record over here. I just feel completely overwhelmed by all of the generous gifts that have been sent my way lately. I can't say enough how grateful I am. So thank you so very much to those of you who have sent these lovely things my way. And like I said, I'll be using some of it myself, but I'll be gifting a lot of it as well to those of you who are participating in the make along. So I hope you enjoyed seeing everything that I had to share with you all today. I hope you all are doing really well. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.